Before the Norris, before the Cup, before anyone knew his name, Cale Makar was just a toddler on a beach in Hawaii, swinging a mini stick through the sand. What started as a family vacation became the first glimpse of greatness. Even at 2 years old, his hands were smooth, his movement effortless, and his potential undeniable. That spark on the sand kicked off one of hockey's most incredible journeys. From beach games to breaking records, this is how Cale Makar became the NHL's most lethal defenseman. Cale Makar was born in Calgary in 1998. From a young age, he was surrounded by hockey lovers, with his parents raising a family of Calgary Flames fans. As is the case for many young Canadians, Cale was encouraged to try his hand at hockey, but his first foray with mini-sticks didn't happen where you'd expect. When young Cale was just 2 years old, his parents took him off to Hawaii for a stint in the sun. Being true Canadians, some mini-sticks were thrown into the suitcase, and off they went. What was initially meant to be just an activity for Cale when hanging out on the beach proved to be far more momentous. The kid could really move, and his fluid handling ability caught the eyes of onlookers, who couldn't help but stare. Who was this silky little toddler? Cale's dad Gary told The Athletic he just loved it, and when you see the coordination he had at that age, you're just like, okay. All of a sudden, the family holiday had gotten a lot more interesting. Cale Makar clearly had a hefty dose of natural talent, and his parents were now dedicated to doing whatever they could to help that talent flourish. As it turns out, they did a pretty good job of that. Despite always standing far shorter and lighter than his opposition, throughout his youth hockey years, Cale Makar had undeniable talent, always catching the eye whenever he showed off his movement ability at speed. By the age of 16, he had earned himself a spot on the Brooks Bandits roster in the Alberta Junior Hockey League, and by 17, he had established himself as one of the top defensemen at that level. Makar led the Bandits to the AJHC title, which they then repeated 1 year later, with the exciting young playmaker now winning the prestigious RBC National Junior A Player of the Year award. Throughout that stint with the Brooks Bandits, it was clear that this wasn't your typical hockey prospect. He was a menace on the ice, speedily gliding around with ease, while also being able to stop on a dime and showcase explosive change of direction skills. When you combined this with his brilliant handling ability, you had a superstar in the making, which encouraged the Colorado Avalanche to use their 4th overall pick on him in the 2017 NHL Draft. Despite already being one of the most exciting young prospects in the nation, Makar opted to test himself at the college level before going pro. He had committed to the University of Massachusetts back in 2015 and wanted to honor that commitment, which ultimately proved to be a sensible decision. The increased speed and physicality of the college game took some time for Makar to adjust to, but he eventually found his footing and earned co-Rookie of the Year honors from the New England Hockey Writers Association. A frustrating postseason exit wasn't how Makar wanted his college career to end though, opting to return for his sophomore season rather than go pro. In his second season of college hockey, Makar led the league in scoring, taking his team all the way to the national championship game, which they unfortunately lost to Minnesota. Nevertheless, it was a level of postseason excitement that the Minutemen were not used to experiencing, and it was all because of their main man, Makar. He was a machine all season long, converting his learning experience from his freshman season into sheer dominance as a sophomore, becoming the first Minutemen player to ever win the prestigious Hobey Baker Award. This was a truly hectic period for Cale Makar. Just days after competing in the Natty, he signed his entry-level deal with the Colorado Avalanche and was preparing for his first taste of NHL action in the Stanley Cup playoffs, no less. The fairy tale story was happening at breakneck speed for Makar, and of all the teams he would be facing in his first ever professional game, it was his family's beloved Calgary Flames. Of course, allegiances had since switched to his new employers, the Colorado Avalanche, and he rewarded their faith and patience by scoring just 16 minutes into his debut. It was a dream start, and on sniping that first goal, he became the first defenseman to score a playoff goal in his NHL debut. That goal laid the foundations for a magical few years for Cale. He transitioned seamlessly into the mix, earning a starting role in the 2019-20 season, and instantly showing out as the best defenseman on the Avalanche, and potentially in the league. Before getting injured in December, he was leading all rookies in scoring with 28 points in 29 games, before returning from injury to notch an 11th goal of the season, which set a new franchise rookie record. He earned the Calder Memorial Trophy for his efforts, while helping Colorado post a .657 win percentage. Unfortunately, a second consecutive second-round playoff exit was all they could manage in the postseason. Frustratingly, that turned into a third consecutive second-round exit 1 year later, in a bitterly disappointing 2020-21 campaign that saw the Avalanche play better than pretty much anyone else in the NHL, but still prove unable to convert it into postseason success. By now, it was clear that Makar had developed into one of the best defensemen in the NHL. He made his presence felt in every single game, helping the Avalanche establish themselves as a perennial contender. His reward was a 6-year deal ahead of the 2021-22 campaign that was worth $54 million. This instantly proved to be a savvy investment, as Makar took his game to a whole new level. He beat his goal-scoring tally from the previous 2 years combined, with 28 to go along with 86 points and a very tidy 48 plus-minus, which was second on the team. In doing so, he smashed the Avalanche franchise record for single-season goals by a defenseman, previously 24, while also ranking second on the team with 58 assists. He was truly all over the place, leading him to win the Norris Trophy in 2022. This was Cale Makar at his absolute best. And while the individual accolade was a much-deserved recognition of his ascension to the top of the spot, he was searching for an even bigger prize with his Avalanche teammates. After suffering 3 straight second-round playoff exits, the Avalanche finally got the monkey off their back by defeating the Blues in the second round of the 2022 playoffs. Makar was on fire throughout, potting 10 points in a 4-game sweep of the Predators in round 1, prompting teammate Nathan MacKinnon to say he might be the best player in the league right now. The team had learned from their recent playoff disappointments and were now a true force to be reckoned with. A highly touted clash with the Edmonton Oilers awaited Colorado in the Western Conference Final, but they were no match for the surging Avalanche. They were downed in 4 before Tampa Bay were defeated in 6 in the Stanley Cup Finals. In just his 3rd season in the NHL, Cale Makar had won the biggest prize in the game, and he had played a huge role in making it happen. His 29 points led the team in playoffs, coming from 8 goals and a team-high 21 assists. This was also the most points ever achieved by a defenseman in a single postseason, making him an easy pick for the Conn Smythe Trophy. It was clear that Cale Makar was special from the moment he picked up a mini-stick on that Hawaiian beach at the age of 2. But nobody could have imagined such a rapid rise to glory. He entered the league with sky-high expectations and has somehow blown them out of the water. He was a pivotal part of the Stanley Cup winning team in 2021-22, dominating as a solo star, but also bringing out the best in his teammates. He is the ideal enabler and stone-cold killer wrapped up in one package. Since that little victory, the fun has continued. In April 2025, he became the 9th defenseman to post 30 goals in a season, contributing a career-high 91 points in the process. There's no slowing this guy down. And at just 26 years old, with 2 All-Star selections and a Stanley Cup already under his belt, the sky really is the limit. Is Cale Makar the best defenseman in the world right now? Hit the comments and let us know where you rank him.